Hey, it's Jimmy. It's been a while. And I'm here with Exon, Lexon.
Laxon, it's good to see you guys again. It's been a while since I casted a bit. This will be my second time with you guys, and I hope we can keep the fun rolling in this exciting matchup.
And looks like the game today is going to be Atlas versus White Lotus. This should be pretty interesting. Atlas's first game.
Yeah, after taking over the 0-9 Elion and keeping their record, it'll be interesting to see what they can bring out against the undefeated team.
Th-
Just, do you know any of the players on Atlas?
Um, no. Which side is Atlas?
Atlas is on the
Left
left.
or right? Okay, so I know Chibi and I know Destiny. I played together with them in season 2 or 3 on It's a Trap. All right, so just a little recap of some of the bands here. We've got the Braum, Zaya, and Nunu, as well as Riven, Anivia, and Singed. Coming in, we've got the Kaisa, Morgana, Sejuani, and a current pick we have yet to be seen.
It's interesting to see that they targeted Ethereal Zaya and not the Jhin or the Lucian that we've seen and come to love in this tournament.
I really like the Morgana Sejuani pick. Together, that's actually a pretty good amount of CC. I don't think they really need to pick too much into heavy CC in these later picks. So that's going to definitely work in their favor.
Yeah, it'll definitely free up some picks, and with Kairos being somewhat of a Sedge main as well, it should help him feel a little bit comfortable in this jungle this match.
I'm going to have to kind of disagree with the Nami pick. I mean, I know Destiny, he's a great player in the support, but I feel like Nami into the Morgana, if Morgana is going support. So coming out for second round bans is the Mundo and Trundle. Okay, I mean, I don't feel like either of those are really detrimental enough, at least from what I've seen in any of the previous series, to really even worry about. The Gragas ban just feels kind of like a waste to me.
Are you certain?
It could be that Slushy has a limited pool and they're trying to pinch it. We haven't seen some of these players again, so we don't know how comfortable they are outside of their top 2 or top 3, so we'll see if Slushy's able to adapt if they try to pinch his pool. And the same with the top lane having a Riven and a Singed ban away, and see how good he is on this Aurelia.
Meanwhile, the LB coming out, Chibi really likes to mess around with LB once in a while, so I feel like that's a pretty safe ban.
And the Ornn in the top lane should mean that the Aurelia is somewhat useless, as the tankiness he has along with the shopping passive will just keep him alive and healthy in that lane.
I'm going to have to differ on that one. I feel like Aurelia actually has the edge over the Ornn, just because of the amount of damage she can put out. Even though Ornn's really tanky, I don't think he could sustain the damage that Aurelia can do, especially in the early to mid game.
Oh, definitely a good point. If she can land those stuns and get those Qs off to get those empowered autos, it definitely could give Ornn a tough time. We'll just have to see how Freshburger decides to play that top lane.
And then the Orianna coming out, as well as the Lee Sin for the last 2 there on Atlas. So all around, I kind of like this Atlas team, but on the flip side, White Lotus has a lot of crowd control, and it's some fairly hard crowd control, especially when you have Katarina and Lucian who can pick up those easy kills. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, really. One team you have that hyper aggressive, the other team you have that lot of CC, just wait for the mistakes to happen, capitalize on it, which I think is going to be working very well in their favor, considering this is supposed to be their first game. They're replacing somebody else, correct?
Yeah.
So I feel like just in round 1, this is a team that could technically take it just on paper with champions. I'm not talking about stats or anything like that. Obviously, we don't have any hard stats for them yet because this is their first game, so we just kind of have to see how it plays out.
No, definitely. And with Lee Sin and Aurelia as well, Sorry about that, folks. We're having a few Twitch problems today,
I
but
blame
hopefully they'll be
Twitch.
resolved. Yeah,
It's all Twitch. You know,
yeah,
we always complain about Rido fixing their stuff, but this is totally Twitch fix your stuff.
yeah. Nothing's worse than having that rat gank you, but the only thing that could be worse is when the Twitch server ganks you and decides not to work.
Yeah, seriously.
But where do you think first blood will be? Let's go into a little bit of a pregame prediction.
I'm either going to say the Lee Sin coming in for a quick gank, maybe a Kaiser roam to mid just to secure it, or the bot lane. I feel the Kaisa is going to have the edge over the Lucian just because of the heal potential from Nami. Yeah, that's where I'm going to set those two lanes. So either the bot lane or the jungle / mid.
I would say mid or bot as well, but I would have to say that if it was bot lane, it would go over to Lucian. If Sedge gets a decent gank off, even just having her presence there, and Morg gets a Q.
My name is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate Games XP in Decorah, Iowa. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The Game XP motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out Games XP and experience this geek gaming paradise.
Hey, we're back after all the stupid technical difficulty stuff. Yay us.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. And
I have a potato.
Yeah. But it appears that White Lotus wants to give us a show early to make up for the long pause, sending all 5 top to try to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they're really going to try to do it.
You know, this little extra cheese in the beginning of the game, I'm not sure about this. This is, you know, the new and upstart team trying to come in and really do something. The Q does land on the Irelia. Irelia really taking a lot of damage here, backing into her jungle. Orianna is going to come up, throw up a ball, just kind of keep them off.
And that 5-man stun really just saving her life there, allowing her not to burn any sums. Can just give her that soft little reset and make her kind of coast in the lane.
Yeah, that's a great play by Aurelia, just getting out of there. Orianna knowing to, you know, kind of follow up with it, make sure they stay off of them.
Yeah, and Nami getting that cheeky little ward on blue will spot out Sedge and give them a little bit of knowledge on where she wants to go after as well.
Yeah, definitely taking advantage of, you know, where the enemy team is at during that time and, you know, making sure that the bot lane is going to be safe throughout the game.
But normal leashes come through both teams. Little normal poke from Ori early as well there. And hopefully we'll see a little early action from one of these teams here. Both junglers going up. I was going to say, just to have a clear word. Looks like we won't get that little level 2 that we're hoping for.
Yeah. So, lanes to watch. I think we already talked about this. I think it's going to kind of be the mid lane or the bot lane on Atlas.
No, definitely, I agree. This bot lane might be in trouble, though, as Kaiser decided not to bring PTA and instead brought Fleet Footwork for the heal. So Lucian may just outdamage her if they get that 2-on-2 skirmish.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Nami's kind of got the edge though in that 2-on-2 because she does have the heal, she does have the bubble.
Definitely. But
the Q going to land onto the Kaisa, getting very low. Lucian dropping the ignite onto her. However, bot lane is still pretty weak as well.
Yeah, a little action from both lanes as we cut back to that top lane gank as well that was halfway through.
It looks like we have Lucian almost going down. Nami taking the first blood there.
Yeah, a little bit of
splash wave.
Deciding to step forward and try to solo that Nami. Also didn't get his first 2 autos off from the dash, so limiting his damage there as well. But hopefully we'll see Ethereal making a few bit better plays as we get later into this lane.
Yeah, Kaisa is still very low in that bot lane, a little concerned about that. However, in the mid lane, Katarina is going all in on Orianda. I mean, okay. Equal trade, so not too much of a worry there, but Sejuani and Lee Sin are there.
Yeah, it's a little risky early for Cat with these even trades as Lee has better mobility and better damage.
And it looks like here is going to be the kick. Oh, and he misses it. Both flashes being blown there in the mid lane.
But it will allow Ori to get that free farm mid, so any advantage she can get will help her out here.
Irelia really not doing so great in this early game against the Ornn. Looking like she is going to go down here. Has to blow the flash to get out.
And hopefully when she backs, she's able to pick up something to help her out in this lane, as Ornn does seem to just be a dominating force, and possibly, depending on what he wants to build up there, can just keep that mana up, creating even bigger problems.
Yeah, taking a look at the itemization, she just bought 2 longswords. She has a corrupting potion. CS-wise, she's even, so at this point she should have the edge. Ha, see what I did there? Edge.
Yeah. A little bit of humor to help the this bit stagnant of an early game go by, as we see these little fights but not much. And Ornn actually deciding to back to regain that mana instead of toughing it out will cost him a few minions, but possibly help him out later.
He did. He kept his TP though, and he still has flash versus Irelia, who's down both sums.
And Sedge hovering top as well seems to know, but looks like we'll have a little action bot lane maybe. Or just a little friendly hello. Reminder that Morgan is in your lane.
It looks like Sedge is going to try to come up from the rear here into the top lane and dish out some to this Irelia. Irelia getting halfway, going low. That comes the Chilling Smite and an Aftershock. Irelia very low, trying to get out of here. Not going to happen though. Ornn is going to pick up the kill.
And without that flash, she has very few ways to get out. And Sedge and Ornn being able to get that stun off as well, with Ornn being a melee character, just means that CC comes out even quicker.
Katarina, Oriana going at it again. Lee Sin kicks and misses again. This is the second time. However, the Sejuani flashes in, and she looks like she's going to pay dearly for it. Chibi is so dead, and looks like Lee Sin might go down. No, he does get the Katarina there.
And bit of a close call there. Lee probably just sweating as he backs now. But definitely a good play and nice job committing instead of running away.
Yeah, definitely redeeming himself for those 2 missed kicks.
We'll see what he decides to get and come back with, and where he decides to gank again. Is it possible just snowballing that mid, or even himself could help him out a lot?
Ornn throwing out the ult. And it figures just as Twitch dies, everybody else starts dying.
Yeah, just to unpack that a bit, we saw a gank mid from both junglers resulting in Sejuani's death, and possibly a gank here as well result in some more.
So in the top lane, Irelia getting very low. Lee Sin is here doing the gank onto the Ornn. Ornn's getting fairly low, but Sedge is here. And it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-1? 1-for-1? And in the bot lane, Morgana looking like she's taking quite a bit of damage from this Kaisa here. And she goes down. Lucian just running back as fast as he can. However, the bubble does land. Destiny doing some work, but he goes down. No follow-up from the Kaisa there.
Yeah. And a bit of a misplay by the Morg there. Didn't have that Kai'Sa in a good enough range, so she's able to just take a half step out and then ult right on her from that auto. But definitely action in all these lanes. I was talking about stagnant lanes earlier. It seems that no team really wants to keep that up, and it really wants to give us a show tonight. And just to talk about gold a bit, they are a bit even with Atlas. Atlas is the new team, being about 8k ahead. And even though their top lane is 500 gold behind, you really see that lead forming in the mid lane and at that ADC spot as well. And as support especially, support actually 500 gold ahead. On Nami that may not mean too much, but hopefully we'll see that go into something.
Well, it looks like we got a gank into the mid lane here. Katarina taking a couple shots from the Orianna ult going off, but nothing major. However, we have another gank in the bot lane as Lee Sin comes in and picks off the Lucian.
Yeah, Ethereal just misjudging that damage a bit, possibly forgetting that Nami's there for those little heals. And trying to make something you really need to.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they haven't taken the dragon yet. We are 11 minutes into the game. So I feel like there's some missed opportunity there, but all in all, it's fairly even.
Definitely a pretty even game. And it's possible White Lotus trying to make a few too many plays.
Yeah,
well, not there.
Watched Irelia just get obliterated.
Yeah. Well, not in the mid lane, but possibly more towards that bot lane. Ethereal may be wanting to assert some dominance that he can't necessarily show. And he may need to calm down if he doesn't want to bring his team down a bit once we get to that mid game.
Big key difference here is the CS on the ADCs. Kaisa 58 versus Ethereal's 84. So he definitely has the item advantage, I would say.
Yeah, even though he is, you know, those 3 deaths down and 3 assists behind, he actually does still have a gold lead on that Kaisa by about 200, which is surprising to see. So Kaisa needs to play a bit better in this lane as well, if she wants to really extend the lead.
Irelia doing some work in this top lane onto the Ornn. The flash comes out from both of them, but Sedge is here, so Irelia really just has to get out of there at this point. But she doesn't. And Katrina pays for it. Or Katarina pays for it.
Yeah, snapping mid just to show that death in the end is a little sad, but Aurelia really trying to force an advantage.
A little bit of a miscommunication there in that bot lane as Nami throws out ult and there's no follow-up from Kaisa at all.
Yeah, although they are dominating this bot lane a bit, there may be some misknowledge there as well, as they may think they're ahead, where actually that Kaisa is a bit behind that Lucian, even though we have seen her make play and play again.
That's right, kill those wards. Can we get some claps for the ward killers?
I'll do a little 1-2 for you. But on the topic of wards, vision control, Atlas having a few of those 1 ward dies at blue, but having those few deep wards bot side and a decent control, but White Lotus deciding to heavily ward that bot side and give them that line of vision will mean that both teams can really see if the other jungler wants to make a play.
Yeah, I feel like ward coverage is very good on the bot side. Not just by one team or the other, but by both teams, really.
Yeah, definitely making sure they have the classics down here.
The gank coming into the jungle here, kind of, and everything misses, so... Sorry?
Katarina does have to burn flash, though, so a little bit of a moral victory on the side of Lee Sin.
But Orianna is gonna go down.
Fuji's just showing that Katarina is a very interactive and fun champ in League. And just really let them know that now that we've hit that gunblade on Kat, that Ori will have to stay by that tower if she wants to have a hope here.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see some counterplay there with Ori ball and running away. There isn't much at all.
White Lotus is doing a very good job of keeping top and mid on their toes and more towards their tower, getting a lot of good free CS. The Ornn especially, I'm really surprised that Ornn is out CSing Irelia. Morgana gonna come in, throw out the ultimate. Nami misses hers. Lucian picks off the Nami with his ult. Kaisa all left alone again.
And Morg really just showing off that my favorite Morg play, that little flash ult, and just getting that slowdown, keeping that CC layered, and letting Lucian just pump out that massive damage, just overpowering that Nami heal.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll see Ornn just kind of still dominating that top lane, not really giving Irelia a chance to play.
Which is really all you need to do is Ornn. I mean, your mid's pretty much locked in. Top is, you know, can't do anything. Bot lane is getting to that point now where Lucian can start to carry.
Yeah. And Ornn just wanting to go above and beyond that 3-1 and 2. He is still looking for these kills and still trying to extend that lead even further.
Definitely not the way I would have played Irelia.
Well, hopefully we'll see a better showing later in this game.
So, we just had the first dragon secured at 16 minutes. It is the Earth Drake on White Lotus, and then Katarina picked off Orianna again. No surprise there.
Yeah, again, just really showing that interactive champ design on the side of Katarina, really showing all that counterplay that's available on the side of that mid lane. And Ori must be feeling it more and more as that mid lane turret goes down as well.
You know, yeah. No, Irelia, run! Oh, the ult does come out, but it doesn't matter. And then Katarina takes a couple of people out. That's a double. Oh, but Lee getting the kick into the tower. Lucian missing, just barely out of range.
Yeah, Cat just 2 shumpos and
but
an
the
auto
ball
really all she
comes out
needs.
to Orianna, and she looks like she could take it. No, double flash out. Okay. Both all three very, very low. I mean, any skill shot lands and one person's dead there. So
Yeah. Possibly get a bit of a breather, even though the action is keeping up here. But
Orianna is gonna try to look for something, still pressing it. I don't feel like this is the best move for her, but it looks like she's gonna back now. So.
yeah, now they have a bit of a breather, and with White Lotus deciding to grab that rift now as well. Cat showing that 2 shumpos and an ult is really all she needs to take down some of these Atlas members, and they will have to find a solution soon, otherwise Cat will just be running rampant and taking out these Atlas players.
Yeah, Fuji, you know, I really thought Chibi was going to be the one to watch, but it turns out Fuji is doing very, very well.
Yeah, and at Gunblade with double pen now, through that Oblivion Orb and those Sork shoes, he really is going to become more and more of a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Katarina coming in onto the Orianna, throwing out the ult, does get her down. Lee Sin having to run away, flashes out. Bot is going to come to the mid. Irelia is coming as well. Nami's going to get caught out. Oh, nothing really happens of it though. No capitalization there. Morgana throws and misses a Q. Irelia going in on the Katarina, does land the stun. Gets knocked out by the Kaisa, but Ornn throwing his ult out, hoping to pick off this Nami. Nami is actually going to go down, having to flash out with Irelia, and she just gets bursted down there as well. Ornn still pushing the advantage, trying to close out this game and get those turrets down very easily. Lucian picking up what looks like is going to be a double here. Maybe, oh my god, did he quadra?
Yeah.
Nice.
And interestingly enough, with Shelly, they may just try to get that last charge in and almost end the game here.
Yeah, this looks like it is done. Next person up is Irelia in 8 seconds, and I don't think she has the damage to try to prevent this. Nami is up though, and not going to be much help as it's just a CC chain.
Shelly not getting off that charge though will mean they really can't crack through that tower.
Irelia is going to try to pick off the Lucian here. Not going to happen. Lee Sin misses the Q. Kai'Sa is coming up though, and it does look like they're going to get the Morgana and the Sejuani here. Ornn going down. Lucian, the only one left up. But that is a lot of damage onto their base. They have barely any tower left, but Katarina is going to come in and pick off the Kai'Sa, and Orianna is going to go down here too. Nami getting in the bit of front of things is going to go down. That's the triple for Fuji.
With some decent death timers, this could be this tower as well, if Aurelia does decide to chase.
Irelia did decide to chase and paid dearly for it.
Wow. Katarina, again, I just keep saying it, really showing that that counterplay available once she starts getting a little fed. And,
yeah, Fuji sitting at 11 and 4. Lee Sin gonna try to protect this tower, but it's gone anyways. He does go in on the Katarina. Katarina says, no, this is mine. My base belongs to you, killing out the Nami as well. And there goes Katarina. Oh man, Kai'Sa barely lived through that.
Yeah, and with
Like, oh my god.
an open Nexus at 21 minutes, this could just be the end of the game for Atlas with very little ways to come back in.
Yeah, I definitely thought this was going to be a little bit slower paced on the side of White Lotus, really, just getting the small advantages with the amount of CC that they have, but it turned into just spiraling out of control with that mid lane.
No, definitely. And with, just to check, an air Drake coming up next, not a huge value. White Lotus could just decide to try to force this Baron.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to try to get it. Sejuani is already there. Morgana is there. Lucian's coming towards it. Honestly, with those three, they could probably take it by themselves at this point.
And we'll see if Atlas can even sniff it out. They don't have any wards in the area, so it's really just gonna have to be pure intuition that'll drive them there.
Irelia is going to come and face check it. Sees it there. The Nami ult does come in. Not much to do though because no follow-up. Nobody else is there. Oh, Lee Sin does come in onto the Sejuani, getting the kick, getting her out of there. Irelia throwing out her ult, not going to hit anything. Morgana is going to throw out her ult and doesn't connect with anything. Ornn throwing his ult and connects with the Lee Sin. The Q lands, that is dead. And Orianna's, Orianna's the last one standing. That means that Orianna wins, right?
With a decent ult, well, I guess only Sedge and Lucian are low, so she's gonna have to whiffs the ult, and that will be the end.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. There's no response that she can do.
Yeah. Unless they decide to dive the pool, this will be a win in the side of White Lotus. Oh wait.
But there are 3 up. Katarina, though, coming in, taking out the Nami.
And just a very clean victory on the side of White Lotus. At the end of the game, securing 36 kills in a 23.5-minute game.
And Fuji, literally almost half of those. He was at 16 and 5 with 2 assists. That Gunblade playing a big part.
Yeah, well, I'll be surprised if Katarina does not receive that ban in the second game, possibly as well as a LeBlanc ban or something, as Fuji on some of these assassin-y AP mid laners may just be too much for this young Atlas team to handle.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of miscommunication on Atlas. You could tell a lot just by the way that they were doing things. So coming into the second game, I'd really like to see them fix that. Just so that, it almost looked like a shutout right there, like...
And hopefully communication will improve in the second game, and we'll see a few more plays on the side of Atlas, as if this next game goes the same way, White Lotus may just try to overpower them again.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to take a little bit of a break and we'll be right back. And welcome back from, our little break there. Joining in to watch Game 2 of Atlas versus White Lotus. Atlas not looking so strong in the first game. White Lotus definitely taking it to them. The powerhouse being Fuji, really dominating in that mid lane and kind of spiraling the other team out of control a little bit. A lot of good roams coming from the Sejuani.
Definitely, and just a few macro problems and a few laning problems on the side of Atlas, but it seems if they polish up a few things, they could become a force in this league, as there are a couple good plays they're making as well against this undefeated team.
Yeah, mostly it looks like a fresh team would. Not very good communication. Just kind of missing opportunities that need to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, and as we see a couple of these bans, the Katarina comes out immediately from Atlas. I definitely don't want to see Fuji on that again after that performance.
Yeah, that was definitely a force to be reckoned with. A force, forcing fierce, fiercely
Indeed.
force.
Forcefully fiercing the fierce forces indeed, sir. And we see the LeBlanc ban come out as well, really just trying to pinch down that mid lane. And we may see a third ban as well, if they really do fear Fuji.
You too will be judged.
And the Morgana actually being taken away from Destiny. Sure. Destiny plays a lot of Morgana, but after the performance in bot lane, I don't think it's something that needs to be worried about.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting ban, but it could mean White Lotus wants to go for a more CC heavy comp or a pick comp, and taking out that Morg could just make their lives a bit easier. So we'll see what they pick in response, or if it actually goes with that ban they made.
However, Atlas did get rid of the Sejuani. I feel like that's a pretty good pick. Aside from Fuji on Katarina, I think Karos on the Sedge is actually it was fairly strong. I felt he had a lot of good lane pressure, so I think that's a decent pick.
It definitely is, and Ethereal actually getting that #1 comfort pick Xayah. So even though he did have a pretty nice performance on that Lucian, we'll see what he does with his main ADC in this matchup.
However, the Thresh coming out fairly early, I feel like that's a decent pick, but I probably wouldn't have shown it that early.
It could just be a steal away from Daydreams, as I believe he does play the Thresh, not necessarily as a main, but I do believe he's proficient on it. So it's decent into Xayah early, and it could really just be that steal as they want to establish that bot lane early.
The Gragas actually being picked up as well. I don't like the Gragas, period. I don't think he really belongs in the meta. He's kind of hard to play around, especially if Gragas is playing in the jungle.
Yeah, and just to take a quick break away from this pick ban phase, it does appear the fans are voting 75% in favor of White Lotus winning, 25% in Atlas. So I believe there is time in that contest if anyone wants to get those predictions in and see if we can get a few more bets going. But it does appear that going to this game 2, White Lotus is heavily favored to win the series.
I really like Nunu being picked up, and Irelia being picked up on White Lotus. The one thing is, the Fresh Burger, who played Ornn last game, can really show what Irelia could do in a game. And the Nunu is just all around a really solid jungler.
Definitely, and we're seeing some of these picks that Atlas tried to ban early last game. So with some of these main champs, we'll see if White Lotus has even stronger of a showing, since it does appear that Fuji was focused down and now they're just trying to rotate some bans to the support.
Yeah, I don't like the Rise pick here at all. I mean, all Fuji has to do is play Fizz. GG.
Well, Fuji could also try to rotate that Aurelia into the mid lane. So if
I
we see
mean,
a top lane
still.
pick, yeah, but if we do see a top lane pick from Atlas where it is somewhat of a counter, we could see Fuji on another one of these divey hard carry mid laners, and we'll see if he has proficiency at the AD side of it.
Varus being picked up by Hibiscus. Sure. Sure. I like it. But the Zyra Rakan is really strong. So, I mean, Thresh Varus is pretty strong too. It's really going to play into the communication on Atlas's part.
Definitely. And an interesting note, they decided to ban Braum and then Ornn as well, saying that
Who do I think is going to win? I really want Atlas to win. I want to see like a good fight, like a good struggle, and put it into a game 3. I feel like game 1 was just too much of a shutout. So yeah, I'd like to see Atlas take this game.
and an interesting note, White Lotus deciding to put cleanse not only on that Xayah who has the ult, but also on that Aurelia. So
Yeah, I mean a lot of the bans are a little
Yeah.
questionable.
And just to snap before we can get this commercial, to snap to just a quick point. Pre-game predictions again. What do you think this first blood is going to be, or where do you think this first blood is going to be?
I'm gonna have to say with the Zyra Rakan in the bot lane, it's really strong right now. Varus Thresh is strong, but I think I'm gonna have to give the edge to Zyra Rakan just because they communicate well, and we saw that in the last game.
I could agree as well. The one problem I have is if Thresh does get some of that quick reaction time going, being able to flay Rakan out of that knockup pre-6 and possibly into pulling him, if Atlas can play under their tower a bit in the bot lane, it could spell the end of Rakan if he gets a little too aggressive. So we'll see. I agree it should be bot lane, but we'll see which bot lane can really press that advantage early. And if we could see a great snowball gank from Nunu or a great little flash body slam from Gragas.
Yeah, what it really depends on is literally just communication and you know, just being able to work together to put a little bit of strategy there in that bot lane to try to get stuff going.
Definitely. But I do believe we will very quickly cut to a commercial from our sponsors, and we'll be back with you guys in a hot minute.
My name is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate Games XP in Decorah, Iowa. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The Game XP motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out Games XP and experience this geek gaming paradise.
And we are back in this game.
Let's do this.
Let's do it indeed. And we'll hopefully see Atlas put up a bit more of a fight, as they are going to be the ones to try this little invade strat. It seems a few series in a row we've had this red side fever, with red side trying to get some kind of play going.
Yeah, Nard's a little bit behind. They played safe on the blue side, so they have the 5-man posted up. But they didn't get any vision on them coming into the jungle, but they are just going to back out. Little confused about that one.
Yeah, interesting to not see some kind of ward go down on that red buff, and just seeing the entirety of Atlas go out, so they won't really have any knowledge on this jungle. Although they may catch Nunu out here as they are deciding to rotate over.
Interesting, interesting turn of events.
Definitely. And
Nunu-
Swain not seeing either.
Gnar gonna get caught out. Nunu just face checking it like nothing, and the Rise getting caught out. Irelia is up here. Gragas did come in. Nunu getting very, very low. Gonna have to back out. Oh, but the Thresh Hook does land on the Irelia. Varus getting lots of damage. The Ignite is out, but not gonna pick up the kill because of Irelia's shield. Lame.
It appears Aurelia popped Cleanse at that last second, avoiding that last tip Ignite as well.
Oh, but Rakan and Xayah were waiting in the bush. Varus getting very low. The Ignite does go out. Varus does blow his heal. A lot of trading, not a lot of capitalization. We've got what looks to be 5 summoners down on White Lotus, and 2 for Atlas.
And it appears that White Lotus may have actually gotten the better part of that trade, with Atlas's bot lane having to give a lackluster and especially late leash to that Gragas. Missing a lot of CS and a lot of experience in that bot lane.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. However, the benefit of getting 5 summoners down is pretty big.
Definitely, but we'll see if they're able to capitalize on that, as if Gragas doesn't try to get some of these ganks going, especially since he does have that flash body slam play available, that it may just have been wasted time.
A lot of trading coming out between Fuji and Chibi right now. Irelia getting very low. Nunu is here. Irelia does go down. Rise taking a decent chunk of damage from the Nunu. Thresh landing the hook onto the Xayah, but Xayah's just going to flash out of that one. Or not flash, dodge, jump, teleport, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And Rakan getting flayed away on that engage, as I was talking about. Thresh a pretty good counter to this Rakan. Maybe why they left it open, as anytime he tries to get that jump in, again, we
here
get that little
it comes
knockaway.
again. Rakan getting very, very low. Varus having to blow his flash, though. However, Xayah is going to take a decent amount of damage from the Thresh. However, Nunu is here. He does have his big, gigantic snowball, but it went away.
Yeah, a little bit of a wrong turn outside of that Nunu.
But Thresh is going to go down regardless. Xayah just maintaining the damage, and Varus not being able to really help out there.
Yeah, the lack of that flash being felt by Thresh in that bot lane, not being able to have that little escape tool he needed there. But Nunu rolling another one mid. We'll see if he's able to connect this time.
Here he comes, coming down. But Irelia is missing everything. Nunu actually misses his ball, takes a tower shot. Rise perfectly fine.
And Chibi showing a bit of comfortable play on that Rise. May be able to make something a mid lane this time.
Gnar going very low in the top here. He's about half health. Swain really putting out the damage in this early game.
Definitely, but the problem with Swain, as we'll see in a bit, is his mana costs are so high. Gnar having that fleet mean that slowly over time he'll be able to heal. So if Swain doesn't pick these trades carefully as the lane goes on, he may just be caught out with no mana and no way to really punish Gnar for the rest of the lane.
Yeah, not to mention the Mega Gnar are going to be able to keep him off that tower pretty much indefinitely.
And again, a little bit of poking from Rise, really just showing that he feels comfortable, he's proficient.
Oh, but here is the 3-man down in the bot lane on both sides. Gragas getting very low, Xayah getting, or Rakan getting very low and actually goes down here. Thresh almost dead as well. Gragas going back in for it, gets the kill onto the Xayah. Varus picking off the Nunu. Good play.
Definitely a very good play. And Slushy actually having self-control for a very long time. Had many opportunities to flash body slam before that play. But holding it for this long means he's able to pick up those 2 extra kills bot. So definitely a lot of comfort and a lot of good decision making on the side of Slushy there throughout this early game.
Now, this is a key point. If you look in that bottom screen, Thresh is down there throwing out deep wards. So that's going to be very good coming into this next rotation down into the bot lane.
It is good he got that deep ward. I do have to wonder about placement, as that will really only show if Nunu decides to do Krugs, and his Krugs is a fairly unpopular jungle camp. It may not really catch anyone out. Well, they'll have knowledge Nunu didn't take it. They may not really know, as opposed to if he placed it in that ward outside of Dragon Pit, or if he played it outside of that red buff on their side. So,
yeah, for sure. However, we do have the Nunu coming into the mid lane. Ryze actually trying to get towards the jungle. Gragas sees what's going on. He's going to try to come down to help and catch this Nunu out. Here it comes. That's the body slam into the binding. That's a dead Nunu.
And Atlas coming out with a counterplay, really trying to hang on to this game, as we saw White Lotus. I got the teams mixed up. So as Atlas is the one dominating this game, White Lotus really trying to make plays again.
Yeah, they're doing very well thus far. Irelia is kind of being bullied in that mid lane there. Not too much they can do about it. The binding does land. Gragas is there, so there is the potential for him to try to come and gank, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and roam top and help that Gnar out a little bit.
Getting this Gnar ahead could definitely help them out, as every lane.
And
getting
here
ahead
comes a
would be
Mega
huge
Gnar,
advantage.
all coming out. The body slam doesn't really do much there. Yeah, you kind of have to watch out for Swain at this point. Doing a lot of damage to that Gnar.
And Gnar just barely missing that ultimate into the wall, definitely helping out Swain, as now he is sitting on very low health, and Swain with over half a mana bar. One more E could spell the end of this Gnar.
Yeah, Gnar definitely needs to play it a lot safer as it goes. Oh, but the flash out of the eye there. That evil eye of Saruman.
Yeah. Definitely saving his life at the last second, as a slow and one auto definitely would have taken him out if the slow didn't immediately.
However, Irelia trying to get some more damage onto the Ryze. Ryze feeling very comfortable, though. Even with no creeps near him.
Yeah.
Just doesn't care.
And Fuji looking a little rusty this game, not really having that stellar performance he did last game. So I wonder if either Zarelia's a little rusty, or he's just really feeling the pressure from this Ryze.
Yeah, Ryze playing very confidently.
So just a little more poke damage, a little more of a hey, how you doing, as Aurelia retreats under tower.
Looks like they could be getting ready to maybe take a dragon, or they just want vision of it. Taking a Windrake this early, I wouldn't necessarily agree with. I'd almost just leave it.
Well, a Windrake on the side of Atlas would help Gragas rotating a little bit, but on the side of White Lotus, giving that Rakan a little extra move speed with his ult, or that Nunu a little extra move speed, and Swain as well being able to keep people in that ultimate. Those few extra ticks matter.
Irelia is going to go onto the Ryze. Ryze just throwing out a little extra damage than Irelia is.
Yeah, and just a little bit of slap fight back and forth, both allow the other to leave. And just preparing to maybe go in at a future days. They both
looks like we're gonna have a gank up here in the top lane. However, Swain uses his ultimate way early and doesn't have any of those blood stacks that he did last time. Gnar doing quite a bit of damage here, and that is gonna be a dead Swain.
And the big problem there is Swain not getting that ult explosion off on Gragas. I don't believe it would have ended in a kill in the end, but definitely getting Gragas lower could have meant some pressure.
Nunu waiting in the bot here. Does miss his snowball, but it's not really going to matter. Varus does take out the Rakan. Thresh very low at this point. Varus doing what he can to the Nunu. Does pick him off. However, Xayah is going to get away, but Varus doesn't really care. Varus is perfectly healthy. But he's going to try to get it anyway, and oh, so close.
And Hibiscus just showing a lot of comfort and a lot of ability on this Varus.
However, Gragas is going to come in, does get the body slam. Beautiful pick.
A very beautiful pick and a very rough time for that Xayah. Is she didn't have any way to avoid that. Just kind of had to throw a little bit of damage out and pray.
Yeah, I have to say, the Varus Thresh is playing this very well, getting rid of that Rakan, ultimately taking away the heal and shield advantage that the Xayah gets from having him there.
And Atlas, really upset about that game 1, is showing a lot of power in this game too, wanting to let the audience know that they aren't just the replacement for Elion, but they can be a contender possibly.
Yeah, Varus doing very well, Gragas doing very well. And that's the dragon for Atlas. So that's going to help a lot with maneuverability.
Yeah, and again, I was talking before, it would feel a bit better on this White Lotus team, so Atlas being able to steal that away. There aren't many champions that necessarily need it as much as the White Lotus team does, but almost just taking it is very worth it.
Yeah, Gnar actually starting to deal some real damage here, but Nunu is going to come up. Snowball is going to miss. Gnar bouncing out of a lot of damage there, but it's not going to save him because those knockups are real.
And a good pick on White Lotus, showing that they aren't done yet. And with only about a 3k, a 2.5k gold lead, it's possible that they aren't that far out of the game yet.
Irelia taking a lot of damage in this mid lane. Rise picking off the kill, just bursting her down, really showing some dominance there.
And Fuji possibly just not knowing that damage yet, possibly just doesn't know that he would have got picked off there, thought he was safe. And Rise probably at the end of his range, just really securing that.
Maintaining vision control in this bot lane on Atlas's side. Very good control here. This is definitely playing a big part in their success, is maintaining that vision.
Yeah, and deep wards on the other side of that dragon pit means that they'll not only see Nunu when he comes to gank bot, but really anywhere on that bot side they'll have a decent idea of what Nunu's doing.
However, on the top side, there's quite a bit of good coverage there by White Lotus. So you're kind of seeing this opposite effect. Oh, the hook landing onto the Rakan there. Varus going to do as much damage as he can. Xayah getting fairly low, but it's not going to do anything. Varus goes down. First death of the game. 13 minutes.
And Nunu coming in real quick, possibly want to finish off this Thresh again.
Oh, but they are going to take him out because there's 3 here, but here comes Gragas, and not much happened. Thresh did get a kill somewhere.
Yeah, Thresh picking off that Xayah, igniting a few autos, and then going down. But Nunu with a bit of a rough ult there gets cancelled almost immediately by that Gragas ult trying to displace them. And just a little bit of a walk away after that.
I felt like they were trying to set up for something greater there, but it turned out okay for Atlas. Not the best, but okay.
Yeah, going 2 for 1 is a little rough there. And Thresh with a great start to that Hex Flash into a very nice full range pull on that Xayah should have turned out better. But Ethereal just showing off that damage and flexing on that Atlas bot lane now, showing that even if he is a little behind, he is still going to be a problem for this team.
Irelia doing lots of damage to Chibi here now. Oh, but there is the shield. And Chibi's going to get out of that one. Just by the skin of his teeth, really.
And Fuji as well, doing just what Ethereal was. It's possible White Lotus showing that even with a 2k gold deficit, even getting just to dominate a little bit in this early game, that they are still doing well.
Here comes a Gragas onto the Swain. Swain does have all of his blood stacks. Nunu is here with his big ball of doom. And it doesn't look like it's going to turn out so great for Atlas.
Yeah, and this early dominating Atlas team just not really finding ways to continue to extend this lead, as White Lotus is just confidently clawing their way back in, finding these small picks across the map, and really just trying to draw on any advantage they can.
Yeah, the big problem is Fuzi is, or not, yeah, Fuzzy's, whatever, Gnar, isn't playing his strongest in that top lane, so they're able to capitalize on that. versus the bot lane where Hibiscus and Destiny are just dominating.
Yeah, with a 5-1-3 Varus, definitely doing well, but again, going down earlier to that Xayah, who really wasn't that fed or didn't really have that much, and even having a CS deficit, the opposite of what we saw last game. It's really going to be tough, is Varus really just can't extend that lead too much, can't flex on him too much, and they do still have to put a little thought into what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do so much with the lead that they have. Varus only has his Bork right now, which item-wise isn't the strongest for the big lead that he has. So they still have to kind of play it on the safer side, but it looks like they're going to try to make something happen here. So there is a TP from Swain, and it's just, yeah, this is just a big mess. So Gnar and Thresh here trying to run away, but they actually do get the Nunu. Xayah and Swain are the only ones left up. Gnar very low. Thresh very low. Varus still up, so they still have the damage on their side. But they're all just a little too weak to actually do anything about it.
Yeah, and as you said, a very big mess through that fight. Gnar TPing in, getting that ult jump to stun onto Daydream's Rakan for that kill. Swain TPing in after trying to get some of that damage in, and just skill shots and ults flying everywhere, as we're really seeing that both of these teams have massive amounts of AoE damage, so even when they're focusing down one target, the rest of the team is effective. So in these team fights going forward, we will see that, where it's not just one target being focused down, but as the target's going down, the targets around them are going to be suffering as well.
Yeah, and it was a 3-2 advantage there on Atlas's side, so they played it as well as they could.
They definitely did, but the one problem here is that the gold lead is now perfectly even between these two teams.
Nunu really just missing with his snowball there, and it looks like they're gonna try to collapse in on him, but Xayah Rakan is coming up the river.
And
looks like they're gonna get ready for Drake, or maybe just get good vision here.
possibly just wording up, as a Water Drake doesn't mean too much to either team, so picking it up would be nice, but extending this lead for either team is really what has to happen, as Atlas, again, threw that gold lead and doesn't really have as much advantages as they once did.
Rise gonna get caught out. The shield does go out. However, both Irelia and Nunu are gonna throw out their ults, and Rise does fall. Gragas comes up to try to help, but it's way too late as he goes down as well.
And White Lotus actually not only catching up, but just now extending the gold lead and just taking this game back from Atlas, who once was in a very good position.
What White Lotus is doing very well is closing that gap by taking those towers, getting that global gold. They're not concerned about getting hard carries yet. They're just trying to claw their way back into the game. So far, they've been doing very well, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and pick off this dragon here as well.
Yeah, just as you said, extending that global gold lead, and in the process, they are finding a few picks that help. But even now, you see Swain pushing that top wave as they're setting up a play bot.
Gragas is going to come up to the top. I think at this point, you just kind of have to let top fall and let Gnar do Gnar things. Swain not really taking much damage. However, Gnar and Gragas taking a lot of damage. You can't fight this Swain at this point. In the bot lane, Irelia is going to take down the Varus, and Gnar going to go down here as well. All around, just bad positioning and bad plays by Atlas.
Yeah. The one thing that really hurts is...
And it looks like Atlas is just going to take the first tower there into the mid lane. Or second tower? Second tower into the mid lane. Bot lane fell first, I believe. So now they're trying to close in the gap here a little bit to try to keep what advantage they had. We're looking at about 1.4K difference in gold, so the teams are fairly even at this point, but a lot of the gold is still sitting on Varus.
Yeah, Varus is definitely have to put this team on his back if he wants to really get this win out.
Irelia finding this this Gragas here, taking him down, but Varus is here to pick her off. Just bad positioning all around, and it looks like the Thresh is going to land the hook onto the Xayah or Rakan. They are going to go deep, though, for the Gnar, interestingly enough. Thresh continuing to try to take advantage of this while Varus and Ryze are dealing with the Swain and the bot. However, Nunu is coming up through the mid, and he does have his giant snowball. Is it going to land? Yes, it lands on that Thresh, knocking him out of the way, but Xayah gonna take, or Rakan gonna take a bit of damage here from the Ryze. A lot of trading. Nunu is gonna throw out the ultimate. Ryze does get his shield, but it doesn't stop anything as Ryze and Thresh both fall. Varus having to retreat and dies as well. Gragas is here picking off the double on the Xayah and the Rakan. Nunu barely escaping, but Swain still super healthy.
And
that was a mouthful.
Yeah. White Lotus pushing into the base just a little bit too far. However, picking up enough kills that they've extended that gold lead to 3K as they're doing what Atlas should have been doing a while ago, grouping up and trying to make plays around the map as a whole with this lead. Really not letting anyone get picked off and really just trying to push what they have.
Yeah, especially when you have a good long distance carry like the Varus, who's already ahead. He's already fed. And you have a Ryze to back that up with great engages by the Thresh and the Gragas. You should be playing as a team at this point, not individually.
And it's interesting to see that Atlas is still sending that Gnar down for a bit. Hopefully this is them grouping in the mid, but I really worry that they're going to try to keep this split push or keep trying to stop that side lane instead of trying to get that 5v4 win and rotating it somewhere.
Yeah, I think the big issue is I feel that Gnar isn't quite strong enough. He's only got 2 completed items, including boots. Hex Drinker halfway to his, that other part of the item. Yeah, Ma. Gnar should be playing with the team. He's too weak. He should just frontline it. However, we do, and oh my god, it's just everybody going in, ults everywhere, and Thresh just gets obliterated. However, it looks like Varus is going to go down here as well. Now their main part of their main damage is out. A lot of damage going in onto the Xayah from the Ryze, and it looks like we could possibly see Swain fall here as well. Yes, but Irelia picking off the Gnar and the Gragas. Ryze just doing a one-man show at this point, trying to defend the base. However, Xayah Rakan very low, and Nunu and Irelia still fairly healthy, but this isn't stopping Ryze. Ryze is continuing to push this up. Just trying to stop the backing as his team can try to get up and push out some of these waves off of the bot lane and kind of group towards the mid here. Potentially trying to take Dragon. I don't agree with it. Nunu is going to get the super stunny ball onto the Ryze there. His giant snowball.
Some would say it is the biggest ever.
Yeah.
But,
it's the biggest snowball ever.
Indeed. And grabbing this Ocean Drake, Atlas will try to extend a bit of a lead, but it's really just possibly too far gone at this point, as they're not really having these cohesive team fights that you would expect that team comp to be able to pull off.
Yeah, at this point, I would have just left the Dragon and maybe tried to clear out a lot of the vision around the Baron. The Baron's going to be the big game changer here. It looks like Atlas is going to get ready to prep for that, but I don't think they have the team fight in them to try to be able to stop it.
The one thing they are going to need is a pick, but it may be White Lotus trying to set that up instead.
Rise up here in the top does spot the Nunu and Zaya, Gragas and Varus in the jungle here. Gnar's with them. They shouldn't be playing around this, I don't feel. Not in this kind of position.
Definitely a little risky, but both teams just trying to find one pick on the other to just try to push some sort of an advantage. As Atlas desperately needs it to get back in, and White Lotus needs a pick as well to just be able to push down these turrets.
Both teams really trying to get the Baron here, I think. But that does land the Thresh hook onto the Swain. Swain getting fairly low. Thresh having to get out of there. Zaya does throw out the ultimate. Connects onto the Thresh. Gragas getting caught out by the Nunu ultimate. Irelia going ham as just Atlas is just getting wiped out. That has pretty much secured them the game at this point. Nunu into the base, taking down the Gnar for, you know, a little date.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough one there. Not sure if he really wanted that, but
It was forced.
yeah. Aside the legal implications, the one problem with the fight was that a lot of yes/no going on from the side of Atlas. And what I mean is that we saw Gnar and we saw Varus trying to back out, reset, and just not really fight for that turret. But at the same point, we saw Gragas and Rise trying to push forward and really reclaim that fight again. So possibly if Atlas can group up and manage a full fight, they'll be able to take out some of these White Lotus members. But with this miscommunication, this new team is definitely going to have problems here.
Yeah, it definitely bringing a lot of communication into this. This is the biggest time where we see issues. However, Thresh is going to try to land the hook on the Zaya. She's backing, fails to land it. Takes a decent chunk of damage for doing so as well. So,
and we may see White Lotus try to grab this Baron soon, as just a Baron buff and a good push will just spell the end of this game.
yeah, and it looks like Atlas is just not really paying attention to Baron at this point. They have the vision on it, but it doesn't look like they want any part of trying to stop this right now.
And I'm not really sure if they can.
You got Rise in the bot lane doing Rise things. Gnar in the top lane doing Gnar things. Here they come. Here's the group. Oh, but Gnar's gonna back. So
possibly not.
No, he changed his mind. But Rise is gonna go bot side. Maybe trying to stop the Swain here. So they do have vision of each other. And we could see the fight start to instigate, maybe. No, just some light pokes, some love taps.
A little bit of a, hey, how you doing on the side of both teams. But the biggest problem with that bot split is that not only is Rise a decent amount of Atlas's damage, but Swain has that TP, so the ability to rotate to that Baron whenever he wants will kind of just leave Rise in the dust.
Yeah. A lot of wards being cleared out, a lot of wards being placed. Definitely trying to fight for control of this.
And Swain may just take out Rise on his own without even needing to rotate over.
So, White Lotus is going to start the Baron. Atlas might not have a say in whether or not they can try to defend it as Irelia comes in and takes down that Thresh. Nunu does secure the Baron as Gragas goes in and just gets obliterated because Swain used that teleport like a smart guy.
Yeah, grouping up and just helping out his team at the very end, while Rise did have to go back to base and heal. Couldn't even get to the Baron if he wanted to. And we may just see this final push here from White Lotus.
As Nunu comes in with the biggest snowball ever, and Gnar just gets wasted there.
And White Lotus still pushing, still going, and with a big wave top, may just try to finish out this game.
Yeah, Rise getting a lot of damage thrown out onto him there, going down. Nunu also taking down the Varus as well as Swain taking down Thresh. This game is pretty much over.
Yeah, Gragas picking up that last little kill on Fuji, but definitely surrounding the Nexus.
Yeah, definitely not going to matter because they can't stop all that damage.
Yeah, a great showing from White Lotus, not only dominating that first game, but really being able to turn around that gold deficit in the second as well. And I do believe it is time for us to figure out the all-star, the main man themselves, the MVP for White Lotus after this match.
Yeah, boy.
So who would you vote? Let's go to the main play-by-play himself, Jimmy. Who would you vote on White Lotus to try to be the MVP?
You know, honestly, I'm probably still gonna have to stick with Fuji. And hear me out on this. Yeah, in the early game of game 2 and the mid game of game 2, he didn't do so great. He was getting pretty pushed around by the Rise, but once they got to that team fight area, you got to see Fuji really shine. He was doing lots of Q stuns. He was throwing out lots of ults and making sure that the team can't retreat as efficiently as what they normally would. So definitely a lot of crowd control in that later part of the game with that Irelia, just the way he was playing it. So I felt like that's probably going to be the biggest supporting factor as to why they won that second game. Just because he was still there, he was being a good sport, he was sticking with the team, you know, doing what he needed to do.
Yeah, I have to disagree to a point. Fresh Burger on that Swain in game 2, with that split push, with that huge dominance top, really bringing back that gold deficit, but just that dominating game 1 and pulling that many bans. I think Fresh can get an honorable mention, but I really do have to agree that Fuji overall for the series should be named the MVP here. What about Fresh? Alright, so are we back live? Alright, so a little bit of a showing there, but Fuji being a little shy does not want to come in here, so the honorable mention man, Fresh Burger.
Oh, the
will be
honorable
joining us
mention,
for
man.
this
I really
interview.
appreciate that.
Hey, you know, honestly, between both of you guys, it was a pretty good toss-up. Fuji really spiraled out of control of game 1. You did as well with the Ornn, but really showing that you're not just a really good Ornn player. You can play a little AP Swain up top and, you know, not be any wiser. So how was it going into game 2, not doing so hot within the first like 10-15 minutes? How'd you guys really secure and close that out?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was just some
It appears
superior...
that Fresh is muted right now. I'm not
What?
sure if he...
I'm not muted.
Oh, he is? I can't hear him. Let me try to... Oh.
What? Come on, man. You have me muted?
Wait, is that you, sir?
I don't have myself muted, and I'm definitely not server muted.
Oh my god, I see. I'm so sorry about this, guys. I see a mute symbol, but I don't... I didn't hear anything until I rejoined.
Everybody can hear him except you.
So I'll ask. I think I can hear him, but I'll ask. I don't know what happened there immediately, but I will ask questions, and I believe I can hear you now. But I'll leave Jimmy to the main the main interview here.
Anyway, what was I saying? Right, so going into game 2, our entire game plan was just don't feed as hard early game, and then we fed even harder. So we had to switch up our game plan a little bit, shift the focus to top lane for a while to help us climb back into it. And once we got to team fights that were relatively even, we just kind of rolled through them.
Yeah, and that looked very apparent, you know. There was a lot of stuff happening on the field, but towards that mid game, a lot more was happening in that top lane. You were getting a lot more ganks and really pushing that Gnar out and just, you know, ultimately just shutting him down throughout the game. So, you go ahead and ask your amazing question now, buddy.
All right. So again, apologies for that little audio mix-up there. I'm not sure at what point I might have accidentally muted you, but it appears that had happened. But we saw you dominate game 2, and we saw you put up a very good performance game 1. And transferring to these different champions, and what I think is a very big leap into Swain in this second game. How big is your pool really? How far reaching are your arms in this top lane to be able to play tanks and bruisers and even bring in AP champions up here? Like, where does the buck stop for you?
For me, it doesn't hard stop anywhere. I can play anything from a solid tank like Mundo to more of an assassin type champion like Irelia. There are a few picks that will not be named that I'm not comfortable with bringing out. Yasuo. But, I mean, over the past 6 to 9 months or so, I've put in a lot of games just brushing up widening my champion pool, brushing up on champions until I'm comfortable bringing them out in 5s. And, I don't know, just takes a lot of solo queue games, a lot of time investment.
So you heard it here first. Strats are just ban out Fresh and make him play Yasuo.
I think I have more champions than the other team has bans, unfortunately. So I'm not sure how well that's going to work out.
Just roll with it. Come on.
If you can somehow make me pick Yasuo, then you got yourself a free win.
So, just get him on Yas. It's
Yeah.
easy. You
Hack
don't have to
computer,
worry about
that's the
Fuji at
Yas.
all. So that being said, what do you feel like the biggest strength was, like the biggest turning point for that second game?
If I were to look for a specific point, I think it would be when we had 3 people pushing bot lane and they sent Gnar and Gragas top lane to try and pick up a kill on me, and I just double killed them instead. Because at that point we got multiple free towers, we got a pretty big advantage in kills, and we just had an insane amount of pressure. And since Gragas with Predator does seem to fall off, I think that was about where he stopped being as effective.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I think we're about good on questions. Do you have any shout outs, honorable mentions, anything to say either to your teammates or to other teams that may be listening out there?
Well, I would like to give a shout out to Atlas. They played a very competitive series. I didn't know what to expect coming in since we hadn't seen them play yet, and they put up a good showing. Within my team, I'd like to shout out Daydreams, the team dad who tries to corral us all into feeding less. It's not always successful, as you can see, but he puts everything he has into the game, and I really respect that.
All right, and just maybe a little bit of a word for the teams you may be facing in the future.
Good luck.
I like it. It's quick and it's simple.
Quick,
Well,
easy.
That's going to wrap up the game today. So White Lotus takes it 2-0 against Atlas. Atlas putting up a very good fight in this match. So let's just give everybody a good round of applause. Thank everybody for being here. Love the co-host. That was awesome. Great color.
Thank you, sir, and definitely a pleasure to be able to cast with you this evening.
I know, I'm super special. And yeah, thank you, Nick, for streaming the game. I hope everybody has a good night.